Welcome back, guys, to the Stadium Drive podcast. We have a very special guest on this afternoon. He is two-time Super Bowl champ, Lawrence Tynes. But right before we get into that, let's tell you about our great sponsors over at Manscaped. Everybody's bored right now. Why not Manscaped? So what you need to do is you need to go to manscaped.com, use our promo code STADIUM for 20% off, plus free shipping. I haven't met anybody who doesn't like free shipping. So, visit manscaped.com, use our promo code STADIUM for 20% off and free shipping. Lawrence Tynes, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming
on. So, what have you been doing with all the pandemic that's going on and the social distancing and all that good stuff?
I think it's important that you find a schedule, right? I mean, my wife and I, we have twin boys that are 12 and a half, and seventh grade's kind of been interrupted, and no sports. We usually are crazy busy after school, but no soccer, no baseball, no basketball. So you just got to try and find a routine. I mean, it took us a while, but we kind of settled into getting some stuff down around the house, which I'm sure a lot of people are doing.
Oh, yeah.
I've never mowed the grass or walked my dog more than I ever have in the last 2 weeks. But
they cancel off schooling for you guys as well? Up where you're at?
Kansas was the first state to actually cancel school in the entire country. So I think we canceled school like the 15th, 16th, something like that of March. And so we're doing remote schooling, which, they're old enough to handle it by themselves. But it's just different. I mean, I think the important thing is we kind of do what they tell us to do and try and keep the elderly healthy and see how long this thing goes. I think it's going to go a lot longer than people think, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Now, here's a crazy question for you. If you could pick any superhero to defeat coronavirus, any superhero, who would you pick?
I mean, I'm generic. I would have to go Superman.
Okay.
He can do everything. Yeah, he's simple. The new ones are cool in the movies, but like Superman's been around for a long time. So like I would go with him.
I respect that. So how's retired life going? I know you've got Tynes Sports. It's a sports agency, right?
Yeah. So I represent a couple of golfers on tour. And then my main job, really, that's just kind of that's an ultimate goal. Here in a couple of years, I'd like to full-time that with NFL and pro golf. But, I work at Wheels Up. It's a private jet company. I've been there 6.5 years. And I'm the senior vice president there. I handle sales in the Midwest. So that's my, you said you're a pilot. So, I love aviation. I'm not a pilot, but we got a great program, and I've been doing that. I literally took the job like 8 months after football. So
oh, wow.
I was only retired for a little bit. I just actually got so sick of like golfing. Like for 8 months I golfed like really 4 or 5 days a week. And contrary to what people say, that does get boring.
Yeah. We had Scobie on a few weeks ago. Have you played with him before?
Yeah. Yeah. He's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. In the kicking world, Scobie and Ryan Suckup are like the two dogs on the golf course.
Yeah.
Like plus,
cool.
What is Josh, like a plus something? Did he say or?
Yeah, he was like about around like scratch. So I was like, damn. He says like that he's the best.
2.
Yeah, he's the best amateur golfer or whatever. So like he was telling us that. So.
He's not better than Suckup. Josh, you're not better than Ryan Suckup. He's not. Those two used to go at it, I think. So Josh did a really cool thing when he played is he used to have this – it lasted 2 or 3 years, but it was a lot of fun where all the kickers, punters, and snappers from every NFL team would come down to Jacksonville, and we'd play like a 2 or 3 day tournament. And that was so fun. And then, it was hard to – he put a lot of work into it, and I appreciated it because the guys got to get together. But for sure he's – Brett Kern is really good too, the punter for the Titans. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of correlations between kicking, punting, and golfing. So
yeah. I hear you. Speaking of Primetime's sports, I love the hats they've came out with.
Okay.
If
Okay.
there's now, I own a small clothing business and hats. If there's any way I can get my hands on a hat, maybe we can do a swap.
For sure.
We'll figure that out.
You know what though? Like that batch I ordered, I posted them. They don't fit right. Like really? I don't wear them. Yeah, they're like flat bill, but like, man, I don't know if I got the wrong depth or something. Because like when you put them on, they're for like some big gigantic offensive lineman's head or something. like they don't fit really. They look good. You know, I've got $2,000 worth of hats, but I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that.
Send you guys some.
Yeah, sure. we'll talk about that after.
You got a big dome, so you might be able to fit one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So,
savage.
Yeah. So, you were born in Scotland. How often do you go back? Do you ever go back and visit, or?
You know, I played in NFL Europe in 2002, but we have not been back. You know, we thought about it actually this summer, but we're probably not traveling to Europe. I want to bring the boys and kind of show them where I grew up.
Yeah.
You know, you're in Air Force. My dad was with SEAL Team 2 over there.
Oh, nice.
Machrihanish in Scotland. So my dad's American, my mom was Scottish.
Yeah, we have a base out there, or a place that we go out all the time, Airfield, Prestwick, that we stop. So it's pretty cool place. I haven't seen it too much, kind of just like a gas and go out of there. But we were in Ireland for a while. I'm assuming that it's not much different.
No.
But, yeah.
All right.
There
we go.
Oh, I like that.
We do a lot of Zooms with all my boys at work, and like we just do them to catch up, to be honest, because we don't get to see each other.
Yeah.
So we do one at 9:00 every morning.
So we got Joe Exotic on the podcast now.
Oh, everyone comes up with like the wildest names.
That is great. Funny. Let's talk a little football now. You played soccer in high school, right?
Yep.
And then how did you start playing football?
So, like my junior year, our PE teacher was our D coordinator, Mike McMillan, and he just one day came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to try kicking?" And I was like, "Sure." You know, I was little. So in ninth grade, I was like 5'3", like 90 pounds. And then by my junior year, I was like 6'1", whatever, like 140, 150. So I never really thought about playing football because I was so small. And then I had this growth spurt. And then he took me out to the baseball field, like in center field. And there was like an upright on the fence. And he said, "Hey, can you just kick the ball that way?" And I didn't stop. Like from the moment I tried it, it was like I was instantly like taken to it. So I just worked on it, and I never stopped until 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was luck. Awesome. It was total luck, because like if he would have never asked me, like I never in a million years would have thought, "Oh, let me go kick footballs."
Yeah.
So I'm glad he did.
Yeah. Now you went to Troy, and then you went undrafted. Now, when you went undrafted, did you think that's it for me, or?
No, because kickers rarely get drafted. I mean, you look at Vinatieri, Matt Bryant, I mean, David Akers. I can go down the list. Jay Feely, all the guys I kind of played with.
Unless you're a Guayu, and then you man.
And then, my year, Sebastian was like a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Janikowski. And then Bill Gramatica was like a third or fourth round pick.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't last very long. So I never even anticipated getting drafted, to be honest with you, because I just knew teams didn't really spend picks on. I would tell you this: if I was running an NFL franchise, I would never draft a kicker ever.
Right.
I don't care how good they are. I think the pressure's already big enough. But like Aguayo, I think he could have made it. It's going to sound weird if he was undrafted. I know that may sound crazy.
There's a lot of pressure on them.
There's too much pressure on a second-round pick, and they traded up to get you. So the position is hard enough to play, and then, they add that to it. And Tampa had so many issues kicking. They think he's going to be the savior.
Yeah.
And I just kind of felt bad for the kid, but he left early too. I'm not saying that would have changed anything had he have stayed, but I just think the pressure was too much. I mean, you're not going to make every kick. And I think when you get drafted in the second round and they move you up, you internally think I have to outperform what I was and what they drafted. So I felt bad for the kid because he was talented, but again, man, that doesn't always translate. You see all these top guys, even quarterbacks. I mean, think of all the greatest college quarterbacks in college football history. They weren't very good pros.
Yeah.
For the most part. You know, I'm not saying like Danny Werfel, and I'm dating myself a little bit. But a lot of those guys were great, like Tim Tebow, one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time.
The list could go on with quarterbacks. I mean, Matt Leinart and Vince Young, and there's so many that were phenomenal in college and just did not ever.
It's a different game. It's completely. And then you've got like Tom Brady, who was a 6th-round pick, who was a so-so college quarterback. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I hear you. So tell us a little bit about playing for the Scottish Claymores. How was that?
It was fun. You know, listen, when you were a young player and you got cut, signed by a team, you know, the option was they sent you to Europe. So, like, for me, it was perfect. All my family was in Glasgow, like 20 minutes outside of there. I loved it. Like, after practice, I'd hop on the train and, like, take it 20 minutes over to my granny's house, hang out with my cousins.
Heck yeah.
So I enjoyed it. It was different. But listen, when you're trying to make it, you'll go anywhere and play.
Yeah.
And so that was the option we had. And as you guys know, a lot of kickers and punters made it from NFL Europe. You know, played over there, and then Brian Moorman was a punter, played for the Bills. I think David Akers played over there. Matt Bryant played over there when I was over there.
Huge names.
Yeah, so there was a lot of, like, it was a great league for kickers and punters. You know, not a lot of other guys made it, but if you were getting allocated to NFL Europe by a team, you knew they liked you. You just had to go perform when they put you out there, because some guys didn't even get sent over there. So getting sent over there, I mean, you didn't make any money. It was like $700 a week, but
wow.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, when you're 22, 23 years old, and you know, you're just trying to make it, you'll go around the world to try and find a team to play for.
Yeah. Now I would ask you about the XFL, but it just came out. It just came out today that they are no longer, which is not really a shock, but I kind of wanted it to last. I know, Brad, you wanted it to.
Yeah, I did too. We had a bunch of guys on the podcast from the XFL too. So.
Well, I think I do too, because I was not a guy who was just like said, "Here you go, you're in the league." I mean, you have to have these developmental leagues for these players. Yeah. And even guys that are on your 53-man roster, there's about 8 guys that don't play a lot. They practice a lot, and that's great, and teams aren't going to send them down to play. But I thought there would be an opportunity at some point, if that league could develop itself, to, you know, allocate players to like a certain team. So 4 teams would allocate to the New York team, like the Jets, Bills, Giants. You know, you could kind of have like an NFL Europe thing. Yeah. But it just, for whatever reason, and listen, I thought the league would have been fine if we didn't have this pandemic. I think it would have. I mean, I think they did the right thing. I read they fired everyone today or something. Yeah. They got to cut costs and stop leaking money. But I think they'll be back in the spring. I hope. I hope, yeah. You know, Brandon Silvers was a guy from Troy he had a couple of nice games for the Seattle team. There's a bunch of Troy guys in there. I'm all for developmental leagues, because I think, you know, the NFL roster is so restrictive. It's tiny. You know, I remember people used to say, well, who was your backup on the team? I'm like, the punter? Yeah. Like, there's not a guy sitting, you know, that practices all week with us, and then, you know, I get the nod. Like, there's one guy. Yeah. And so, you know, being one of 32 people in the world that gets to kick for a decade was a lot of fun.
Yeah, crazy. So you played a little Canadian, and then you came back to the Chiefs. And
have you guys watched any CFL football?
I've watched some of it. Yeah, not too much of it.
Nuts.
Yeah,
it's insane.
How the
fast pace.
Field goal post is like in the middle of the end zone.
Right in the front. Yeah, they're right in the front too. So like the toughest kicks up there were like 10, 11-yard field goals. That's how long they were. Because the angle.
Oh, yeah.
You were like,
yeah, that makes sense.
You're like, you know, like those little short ones that I mean, literally you were sideways kicking it.
Dang.
But that league is fast-paced, 12 players, 3 downs. I mean, my second year up there, I made 51 field goals in a season.
Jeez.
Wow.
So you're out there like 3 or 4 times a game because it's an offensive game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So then you make it back to Kansas City. You play for the Chiefs for a few years, and then you get traded. What was your reaction to getting traded, and how did they tell you? Did they just did they just call you on the phone?
No,
or?
so the Chiefs had drafted another kid from UCLA named Justin Medlock. It's so ironic. He played like 6 games total in the NFL.
Yeah.
Never really made it. He lasted 1 game that year with the Chiefs, but like he's been in the CFL for like the last decade. Like you could look him up. I think he's like the most accurate, most all-time, whatever, everything in the CFL. But he does all 3. So when they drafted him, I was in a contract kind of back and forth. I was a restricted free agent. I didn't have a lot of leverage because I really could only sign with the Chiefs unless I could sign with someone else, but then the Chiefs would have to match it.
Right.
And so we just kept butting heads, and then it never worked out. And so I signed my tender, like 1-year tender, and I just asked them if I could be traded. And
nice.
So when I finally came around to getting traded, there was 3 teams. It was New York, Houston, and New Orleans were my 3. The GM gave me a choice.
Oh wow!
He said they're offering the same thing. So it was like a 7th round pick.
Okay,
that's
pretty
cool.
cool.
I didn't know that.
And so the reason I went to New York is because Thomas McGahee, who is currently the special teams coach, Thomas was my assistant special teams coach in Kansas City. He was my special teams coach in NFL Europe. And then he had just, by luck, was with the Giants at the time. They had a need. Obviously, he knew me. We had a relationship. And he's still one of my best friends in the world. He's the head special teams coach now with the Giants. So he's the reason I chose New York. Really, there was no other reason. I mean, listen, I turned down 2 domes to go to New York. What idiot does that?
That's true.
I went there because of him, and obviously it all worked out.
Yeah, so that was the 2007 season, Giants. Obviously, that's a huge season for you guys.
A good year to pick to get traded.
Oh, what a great year. Yeah, I was like a 12-year-old kid, so it was like the funnest year for me to be able to watch that season.
Yeah.
Obviously, we started out like 0-2, and then you guys finished 10-6. Kind of, you won 6 straight at one point after those first 2 losses, and then kind of back and forth. You play the Patriots in Week 17, which obviously it was the undefeated Pats, and then you guys played them really well. We knew we had effective pass rushers like Strahan and OC. Did you guys have a lot of confidence and build up like after that game? Obviously, in the Super Bowl. You guys had seen him before. So everybody talks about how Belichick was, if he sees you twice, you're not going to lose again. But, I mean, you guys were leading in the 3rd quarter of that game. So,
yeah, that was a hell of a game, too. I remember pretty much every network in America, covered it. We were, you mentioned the 0-2 start. We were about 8 inches away from being 0-3. Kavika Mitchell made a stop on 4th down against the Redskins in Washington. And we won 6 in a row. Like, that was our first win. And then we got on a little bit of a run. Steve Spagnuolo was our D coordinator.
Yeah.
So the guys were trying to figure him out. And, he just won another Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Spags was great.
Yeah.
But that game against New England, that was unbelievable. That was one of the best games we ever played. And, we lost. But, they were destroying teams all year. And we get in there and we gave it our best effort. But we were hot. We were so hot at the end of the year. And so, naturally when we saw them like 5 weeks later, we had all the confidence in the world that we were going to beat them. I know this. That's the one team they didn't want to play. And,
exactly, yeah.
Because when you got Strahan, Tuck, OC, Kiwanuka, Dave Tollison, I mean, we just had a wave of defensive ends coming at you and D tackles. Fred Robbins, the D tackle, Barry Cofield, that defensive line was relentless. And so, we expected to win. I know that sounds crazy, but we really didn't think any other way.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I was sitting there with my dad and my brother and we were like, that loss that we had that the Giants had week 17 was, we were like, that's probably better than any win that they could have had that season because of how you guys played.
We lost by what, 3, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a tight game. Of course, Randy Moss got loose like he did, but yeah, we knew we could handle them if we played them again.
So you guys finished 10-6, got the wild card, and then you played at the Bucks, at the Cowboys, at Green Bay, and then obviously against the Pats in Glendale. Dubbed the playoff Road Warriors. One of the coolest things. There's a bunch of shirts with Road Warriors on it. 11
in a row on the road.
Yeah, awesome.
Like we lost the opening game at Dallas, and then we won every other road game. After that. So basically at the Bucks, the win versus the Bucks on the wild card weekend, your first playoff kick, that 25-yarder, was it any different than your regular season kicks, or did you try it out there like, all right, Yeah, it's different. I mean, your first go around in the playoffs, yeah, it's different. I mean, it's just just because everything means more.
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to say that they all should matter the same, but they don't.
Yeah, it makes sense.
There's only so many games being played that day, so. And then with each time you advance, the pressure builds, and then finally, you're kicking in the Super Bowl, and it's 10x of what the first wild card game was.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: the second go around in the playoffs was a whole lot more chill.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions about that too.
Yeah.
Like just to kind of see what your mindset was like.
Yeah.
And then so after the Bucks game, you guys play the Cowboys. You started 0-2, or you went 0-2 versus them in the regular season, playing in Jerry's World. And then you had a few PATs in that game, no field goal kicks that I can remember, or attempts.
I didn't, yeah.
And then basically a huge game, back and forth, and then Romo throws the pick to RW at the end. That was awesome. I was like, man, this is legit. This is this could happen. Just as a fan, being like, this seems different than any other season. So that was pretty cool to be able to see that and just seal it that way in Dallas. Big rival, obviously. So
yeah, that was a big play by RW at the end of the game. But that whole secondary was kind of piecemealed together. Corey Webster was a young guy, Aaron Ross, and then you had like Sam Madison, who was older at the time. Sam's the secondary coach with the Chiefs. So,
nice.
Yeah, so Spags obviously hired him as his secondary coach, but we just had a lot of good dudes on those teams, man. Like it wasn't we weren't like special, but we had a special relationship in the locker room with everybody because I think we only had one, maybe 2 Pro Bowlers, one, and then that Dallas team had like 11.
Yeah. They were wild that year too.
Yeah,
because
they
won a division. Yeah. Man. So you guys win that, obviously a huge boost of confidence. You go into Green Bay, which is got to be the coldest game that you've ever played. Negative 23 with wind chill.
Yeah, it sucked.
Were you just like on the sideline next to the heaters all game, like just trying to stay warm?
Yeah, well, the benches are heated, right? So you're sitting there with like these big coats on. There's a thing underneath your feet that blows heat up. So you're really just trying to trap all the heat in there so you can, function. And for me, like I don't run routes or cover people. So like trying to stay warm is a full-time job. Because
what's it like trying to kick in like that weather? Like obviously below freezing. I've told this story 100 times, but just for this podcast. No. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Like this will give you a great idea of what it was like. So typically in a pregame, we kick like 10, 12 balls on each side, like live, like snap, hold, kick, extra point, 25, 28, 31, 30. So we just kind of start working our way backwards. Well, after like the 5th kick in Green Bay that day, we had to stop because Jeff Fiegels could not catch the snap.
Really?
Wow.
His hands were numb. Like he couldn't feel it. He couldn't move it. Like he couldn't do this and put the ball down. So we had to stop. Like I couldn't.
Wow.
I would have stayed out there, but it sucked. So then you just roll with it. And if you have the right mentality, you can do it. Like I was just like, fuck it. It's going to suck all day. That's all you got to do. And just say, because like I was 3 for 5 that day. It's the best game of my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really kicked it off for us because the Giants had those 2 stalled drives like in Green Bay territory in the beginning, first half, and you had like a 29-yarder, 37-yarder that gets us up 6-0. That's huge then. And then obviously moving into
because every kick that day was tough. I don't care.
I'm sure.
PAT, just the whole operation of everything was tough. The snapper had it tough. The holder had it tough. I had it tough. Like everything was just, like I said earlier, it was just going to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get the Giants up 6-0, and then obviously kind of back and forth between Favre and Eli. You get to the second half, and you have those like 2 misses. Like, what's going on through your head like when that happens? I know like Coughlin, just watching, was not too happy.
The one at the end, like I'm far enough removed from football. The snap sucked. I mean, I don't care that I say that now.
Yeah.
Like back then, I would have never said that. But like Jeff Fiegels leaves his feet to go get it. I'm trying to buy time by leaning back, and it didn't work out. But like the one I missed earlier from like 42, before that, like I hit it really good. I just didn't make it. And so if anyone knows me when I played, I'll be honest with you, I didn't care if I missed.
Okay.
Like it didn't bother me. Like I didn't hold on to it very, like I think in my whole career I missed back-to-back kicks. That was one. Maybe twice, 3 times in my whole career that I ever missed back-to-back.
Well, you could kind of tell when like you had those 2 misses, and now we're in overtime, and it's the end of the game, and you see Coughlin and Quinn kind of discussing what they're going to do, and you kind of just trot out on the field like, all right, guys, I got this.
Yeah, I was gone. I knew because the one I missed, the 42-yarder I missed was like I hit it good. I just didn't make it. I just missed. I didn't start it far enough to the right. So I knew I could make one from 47. It was just a matter of me running out there and Coach Coughlin seeing that I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
And so he said he made the decision, and all the coaches are in his headset going, no, don't kick it.
Wow.
So, we went out there and we made the kick. It was a great snap by Jay. A lot of people don't realize Jay was a defensive tackle. Jay had our snapper got hurt in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Coughlin basically looked at everybody after practice and has said, has anyone ever snapped before? And Jay Alford went like this, like raised his hand. And he was a rookie, 3rd-round pick, D tackle, left-handed. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're snapping left-handed,
oh, I'm sure.
I don't think Jeff Fiegels had ever caught as a holder. Jeff was in like his 20th year, right? So Jeff had never caught a snap from a left-handed snapper. Because it spins different. So like the whole adjustment thing, the whole year like was weird because like typically the kicker, punter, and snapper are always together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can say, hey, let's go get some work. Well, with Jay Alford, like we could only kick like 10, 15 kicks before practice, and then I never saw him again.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird. That whole thing was weird. But, Jay had a sack in the Super Bowl, our field goal.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Awesome. So we were kind of like the ultimate like football team. Like guys snapped, he played defensive tackle. Like we were just kind of a old school, everybody did something.
That's awesome. After you made that kick, what was the locker room like? And do you have the ball? I mean, I'm assuming you got the ball afterwards.
Yeah. So I just hauled ass. I mean, it's on TV. Like I was gone, and like I just wanted to get out of the cold. I mean, I don't think anyone realizes 3 hours plus overtime. I don't know what the time of the game was, like 3:40, 3.
Yeah,
it was freezing.
I mean, Coughlin's face was frozen.
So I run, and it's a long walk. Like you see where the players enter in that end zone in Green Bay. Well, it's like a 2 or 3 minute walk just to get to the locker room from there. And so I got in there and I just kind of like sat down like this in my locker, and I look around. There's like nobody in there because I had beelined it.
Yeah.
Finally, guys started like piling in, and it was fun. Shit, it was like you're just trying to wrap your head around the fact that you're going to the Super Bowl for a guy who had been to NFL Europe, Canada, play in Lambeau Field, beat Brett Favre.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was just kind of a surreal moment. And then you just, you have a great flight home. And, what's funny though, is like, if the Super Bowl would have been the next week, I couldn't have played because my foot, I had, in that weather, my foot, I have a real bony feet. So like when I took my sock off, my foot just went boom, like the size of a baseball. Like my socks were keeping the blood down, and it went like, so I had it drained like twice in between there and the Super Bowl. So I didn't kick again until Thursday before the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So like I took 10 days off because my foot was so jacked up from all this. It was from all the kicks. It wasn't just from the last one. It was from like every kick throughout that night, adding up, and then I had busted all the blood vessels in my foot.
Oh,
See, those are the type of stories we try to pull because, like, that's probably buried somewhere deep, somewhere in some interview.
No one's really written about it. But I definitely wouldn't have played. It would have sucked. There's no way I could have played in the Super Bowl if it was a week later.
Man, that's wild. That's awesome to know. So moving into that Super Bowl, what was that experience like? We talked about it a little bit. You guys felt like you could beat them, but obviously the media and what we saw as fans was like, there's no chance the Giants are going to win. This team we've never seen, play like this before, except for the 72 Dolphins, which they went 17-0. How'd you guys brush all of that bullshit off and like just say, let's go out and play? Is it just like, it's the Super Bowl, so it's not just any other game, but are you like, hey, this is like, we can win this game?
All the pressure was on them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I couldn't imagine being the Patriots, being 18-0, and having to win against a team that almost beat you 4 or 5 weeks earlier. I just, we were just playing, like we were just happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we were confident. Don't get me wrong. We didn't go there to think we were going to lose, but all the pressure was on the Patriots. I mean, it's funny. Coughlin's the only coach in the NFL that has like a winning record against Belichick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You count. I think I actually, in my career, have the teams I was on, I think we're like 3-2 against them.
Oh,
so
wow.
I've had way more success against. We beat them. Even the next time, and I'm sure we'll get to this, but like the second time we played them in the Super Bowl, like we beat them in the regular season that year, but yet we were some 10-point underdog. I don't understand it.
So with the first kick in the Super Bowl, obviously you had like that 32-yarder, and you had your first kick in the playoffs was 25-yarder. Does that, in the Super Bowl, does that feel like just
10x
wild?
10x. It's 10x whatever anything you've ever felt.
I just can't imagine. Like I can't imagine just like
going.
Oh,
it's so funny. I was talking to Dustin Colquitt, who's a real good friend of mine. Our kids go to school together, and he's 15 years. Like we played together in Kansas City. He finally got to the Super Bowl. They won it, but the Chiefs went 3-and-out in that drive, and to open the Super Bowl this year. And it was funny. I was like, "What? Like, tell me what you felt like." Because like when you go out there, just like he did, like that was our first drive of the game. So it was like a 10-minute drive. You're sitting there the whole time going, you just want to go out there and like get a kick. Like, and then once you do, it's everything kind of settles down. But like until you do, it's like an out of body experience, because I don't think you'll ever feel anything like that. Dustin said the same thing. Like when he went out there, they went 3-and-out. They punted, and he was like, it just nothing feels normal, because it's not normal.
Yeah.
And then after that, you settle down and, you do your thing. But getting that first kick out of the way is a big deal.
So I have to ask, where were you at? Like, what were you thinking when Eli Manning, 3rd and 5, like has a Houdini-like escape, throws it to Tyree? I'm sure you've been asked this, but like, were you like, we're winning this game? After he makes the catch, were you like, that's it? Like, we're winning it? Or were you still like,
naturally, it just didn't make sense anyway. The whole play didn't make sense.
Exactly.
But like when he came down with that, I thought, they're going to overturn it, right? Because in real time, it looked like there's no way he caught that. And then, Mike Perry and them reviewed it, Mike Carey, and they're like, sketch. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
so,
that's wild.
It's funny. You think you won it, though, but like then giving Brady the ball back, I don't care if there's 7 seconds left. For some reason, you're just never comfortable.
Yeah. Well, that big play that people don't remember is that right before that, Eli threw one right in Asante Samuel's breadbasket, like would have ended the game. And then that play happened.
He was hyping himself up as some like best corner all time.
Yeah.
So I sent him a tweet with that drop pick. He doesn't know me. I don't know him
savage.
But I was just like busting his balls. But like I was like, oh yeah, you remember this one? That was the game. Like,
yeah, it was
automatic.
And then like my brother's a big stat junkie. He loves to recall announcers' calls. So he'll like just randomly, like this is just like a few months ago, just gives the pressure from Thomas off the edge, like the entire call from the Tyree play. It's just the coolest thing, because I'm just like, I mean,
You know,
it was a
listen, you got
wild
to be
game.
lucky. There's a lot of good plays, but you got to be lucky too. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember there was a fumble that Ahmad Bradshaw took away from Adelius Thomas? Like Ahmad Bradshaw is like 5'9", 5'8", and he took it away from a D tackle. It doesn't
wild.
Like there's so many, and then there was a fumbled punt in the Green Bay game that Dominic Hickson or somebody recovered. You know, there's just little plays that don't get a lot of publicity that obviously allow you to win Super Bowls and big games. So those are the plays we think about.
Yeah, after the game, you know, Plex catches the game winner. Tom Brady obviously doesn't come back to tie it with the, you know, you guys win 17-14. Strahan and his gap's going wild. He's got like the newspaper, you know. What's that like? Not just the right after, not in the locker room, the celebration that we all see, but like after a couple weeks have gone by, are you just like, wow, we beat the undefeated Pats? Like, this is crazy. Like my uncle and his kids are all Pats fans. And he was like, I had to watch Animal Planet for like 3 months because I couldn't watch anything. He's like, I couldn't watch anything because it was all about the Giants.
That's probably the one that hurts that franchise the most. I mean, they've won a bunch of them, but to me, it's like you always remember the kicks you missed or games you lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so for them and that franchise, I don't feel sorry for any of them. They've won 6, so
no, for sure.
But after the game, it's fun. I mean, the flight home's wild because you stay the night. We had some huge party in our hotel, and then you get up the next morning and fly home. But it was funny because we both got to the airport at the same time, and our plane was over here, and we don't go through the terminals. We pull up to the plane, and you get off the bus and walk up. Well, the Pat's plane was like literally 300 or 400 yards away from ours, and so like OC and some of the dudes were like talking shit to him.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was pretty. It was after the game, after the night after, or the day after, and they were still rubbing it in. So that was pretty funny. And then you fly home. It doesn't really hit you, I don't think, until you, like in New York, we did the ticker tape parade down Canyon of Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's 3, 4, 5 million people hanging out of buildings, throwing ticker tape out the windows. That's when you finally realize that you did something super cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I knew the magnitude of it being like a kid still, but like my middle name's Taylor after Lawrence Taylor. My dad's a huge Giants fan. And, just we had seen the 2000 Super Bowl where they got wrecked by the Ravens and all that. But being able to see how he reacted to that after, so many years was pretty awesome, especially with how it ended.
Yeah, it was cool because Strahan was on that team. Amani Toomer was on that team.
All guys who deserved, like, I mean, they've been playing for so long, especially with the same franchise.
There's a few more guys. I can't remember. Maybe Rich Soybert was on that team. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it was a big deal for those guys.
Who was how often do you talk to any of the guys from that team? Who are some of your boys?
Man, geez. Social media keeps you in touch with everybody. Like whether you don't necessarily pick up the phone, but like
right.
Whether it's Tuck or Corey Webster, Brandon Jacobs, Dave Collison, Zach Diossi is one of my best friends. Eli, you shoot him. He's a Tex guy. He's not super. He's got 4 kids. Literally everyone on that team. I could, if I needed something, I'd text them and they'd be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
That team is still close. When you win a championship with guys, like those teams are forever stuck together. So, and that's the way it is now, 10 years later, in some regards, 15 years later. Mm-hmm. So everybody looks out for each other.
I hear you. So you mentioned Eli. How hard does Eli go when you guys party? I know there had to be some party.
Go hard.
He goes hard.
Yeah. You saw the napkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw. I mean, the snippet of him and DJ is like priceless.
Hey, yeah, he's just passing the torch.
That's all. Yeah, that's it.
I can go hard. Yeah. See, a lot of people. It's funny because when I'm out in public and people find out I play, they're like, "Well, what's Eli like?" I'm like, he's a dork. First of all.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and give you that. But I said he's funny as hell and nerdy. He's just fun, man. He's quick-witted. You guys have all heard it. My locker was right next to his for my whole career
nice.
with him. So I got a little bit more than probably most people. Not all of it was good because he was always fucking with something in your locker. But
Nice.
Assassin, I take him over his brother any day of the week. I don't care what anybody tells me. In a big game,
Okay.
I'm taking 10. I don't care. Look at his playoff record.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care what his regular season record is.
You have a great point. Yeah, it's a good
I am
point.
taking number 10 in any big game I got, period.
Nice.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
How was playing under Tom Coughlin? How was Tom?
You know, it was fine. I love him. A lot of people, he got kind of a bad rap. I didn't know him in 2006. I didn't get traded till 07, but
Yeah.
apparently they were ready to run him out of town in 06.
Mm-hmm.
And then Judy and his daughter and his family and the media sat him down and said, you need to settle down. You're psychotic. And, you know, he's the best coach I've ever played for. I mean, so I got traded in May, I think it was, of 07. And the boys were born like July of that year. And so I had kind of been in transition. So Kansas City back to New York, I would come for like 3 days, fly home. We were just doing OTAs and stuff. And so when the boys were born on July 6th, yes, I should know that. They're twins.
You should know that, man.
Yeah. So when they were born, the first flowers and balloons I got were from Tom Coughlin. And I didn't even really know him. I mean, I had been there a little bit, but if that tells you anything about the man, but man, his discipline and attention to detail is second to nobody.
Yeah, you hear about like the 5 minutes for, like you hear the story about Strahan showing up on time.
Yeah, what time is it? What time is it on
your
your clock right now?
What you got?
2:47.
Yeah, so 2:47, right? So look, my watch is, I'm not showing you the brand. I mean, but it's 7 minutes fast just because
Dang.
anyone that plays for him, it's ingrained in you. Like I could go up to any player that was on those teams. Every one of them's watch is 5 minutes fast.
Wow.
So just little details like that, but that's what makes you know, your team's good.
Yeah.
All the small things.
When the Jags got rid of him, they prided themselves on making the time back to normal when he left.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, whatever.
That's why Jacksonville sucks.
Yeah, that's true.
Listen, the Giants suck too. The Giants have sucked too. I don't have any leg to stand on right now, but they're not organizationally. They haven't been shitty. They just had a rough patch. The Jacksonville Jaguars suck.
My team, my favorite NFL team, has also sucked for many years.
Who is it?
Oh man,
come on, own it up.
I'm a big time Redskins fan.
Okay. So yeah, you know that one doesn't make sense either. But
yeah,
the owner sucks. See, the Giants have great ownership.
Yeah,
they have great fans.
Speaking of Mara, my wife, I didn't know this right before we got married. She sent a invitation to the Giants and was like, "Hey, you guys are invited to our wedding." And he sent me a signed like placard back that was like, "Hey, congratulations on the wedding!" Like,
who did, John Mara?
Yeah, and I was like,
that's not surprising. You think Dan Snyder would do that? Redskins?
No.
No chance.
No.
What about Saeed Khan? You think he'd do that?
No,
probably not.
He's too busy. He's at like an English Premier League soccer match right now.
Yeah. Speaking of
sell his team to London.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. Do you think that would ever happen? And if it does happen, do you like that move or?
No, hell no. Because who wants to pay those taxes over there?
Yeah, I agree.
No, but you would never listen. People sign with the Titans. They sign with any team with no state income tax, right? Any team in Dallas or Texas, Florida. They do it for, like Amari Cooper. Redskins wanted him, right?
Yeah.
And he signed for $100 million in Dallas. And he said the Redskins were offering more money, but there's no state income taxes, so he took the $100 million in Dallas. Listen, I would have stayed in Dallas anyway over Washington, but that's a big deal. And you can't – how would you – logistically, it would never work because, man, playing over there and then you'd have to come over here for 2 weeks at a time probably and play a game, then go back for 2. I don't know. If they did it, it would only be for money. I just don't see how it works.
I don't see how it works at all either.
Going back to
they're just trying to spread the game. I get it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the NFL. Listen, there's one thing they do well is they know how to make money, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
that's true. Going back to 2011, obviously that was huge. You talked about it a little bit earlier. You're a hero again in the NFC Championship against the Niners. I mean, you had a lot of huge kicks in your career. Those two weren't just the only ones that you've hit, but obviously those are the ones that people remember. Just the average Giants fan remembers. But how was that? Like, obviously the Green Bay one must have been a tougher kick just with the elements, and then you had been there before, but still going out there. Are you just like stone cold until the kick happens, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was super chill whenever it happened, but that kick took forever to kick. We went out there and I don't know what we were waiting for, but anyway, we kind of got out there a little bit late, and I don't know if it was the holder, maybe we had a missing lineman or something like that. But anyway, it was a good thing because my original spot was in a puddle and I couldn't move it. Like, you can only move so far, like left or right. Like, I can't move the spot 8 inches this way because then I'm shortening the block angle. So like I only have like a little, square like this big where I can move my spot around, because if I move it this way, I'm shortening the block angle for guys and whatever. So we were just going to roll with it kind of in a little bit of a puddle, muddy spot. It was only like, I don't know, 26 yards at the time. And so we go to line up and they blew the whistle, it was delay game. It's funny. I don't know if anyone's ever looked at that film closely, but Chris Nee was over there and he's like, dude, you better be glad we got delay game, because that guy absolutely beats him on the inside move, like interiorly. And that guy would have blocked the field goal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
The Niners. He would have blocked it. Like, so we'd have lost. Then we back up. 31, perfect spot, grass. It was like the one piece of grass left on the field because it was muddy. And so I was like just waiting, blah, 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 and then line up, timeout. So I'm like, Jesus, whatever. So you're just kind of just pacing.
Does getting iced bother you, or does it like?
I could say it doesn't, but it worked once, like in Philly. I missed like 2012. I missed like a 54-yarder, like wide left.
Yeah.
At the end, Philly. And Andy Reid had called a timeout, so I'm like, yes, because I've never missed like one of those, if that's ever happened. And so I took a little bit off of it, like, because I had pulled it the last time, and then I spun it and I hit like the bottom of the crossbar and missed it. But that's the only one time that it's ever worked. I don't think it works.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah,
I mean, because what we would always tell each other is like, if we hear a whistle, Zach will snap it and I'll kick it. I don't care what the refs say. They've never called a penalty on that. They never will. Plus, I wore earplugs when I played, so like I could just blame it on that and say I couldn't hear you.
Yes, Scobie pretty much said the same thing. He said that when they would call timeouts for him, it just gave him more time to just think about it. So
Scobie hit some bombs too.
Yeah,
of course, he played in that warm. I was telling all those guys played in that warm weather.
Yeah,
they sucked when they came up to the cold though.
We we asked him about kicking in Denver, and he said that he attempted like a 70 or 80 yarder in the game one time.
It's like kicker porn. It's just
really
stupid.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, the first game you always hear people tell you, says, "Hey, look, first game. My first NFL game of my career was in Denver, and it was a September night, like 80 degrees in Denver. I mean, by the time the game started, I was toast because I had kicked so much, like just hitting like 65, 70 yards, just hitting them. Man. And then finally the game starts. But, yeah, the ball absolutely flies up there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And that Super Bowl versus the Pats again, you had the Eli throw to the Manning catch. It kind of felt like deja vu going on.
That's the sickest throw catch ever.
That's the best throw that's ever like in NFL history.
Some people have – I said that. Like some people I'll give Ben Roethlisberger and Santonio Holmes, but that was like a 10-12-yard throw. This was a 30 whatever in between the safety and the corner on the Pats sideline. Like,
yeah, it was like half a yard to the left is out of bounds, half a yard to the right, it's picked off. If it's short, it's picked. If it's long, it's picked. Like, it's wild.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was to me. And then the way Mario kept his feet in bounds
That was my
insane.
profile picture on like Facebook for the longest time. Was him like
was it?
holding his feet? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good player, man. We had a good little squad with him, Hakeem and Victor. Those guys were good. But we lost 2 tight ends in that Super Bowl. Beckham and Ballard, both of them tore their ACL.
Yeah,
so we were kind of like a spread offense by the end of the game.
Yeah.
So do you still keep up with the Giants? Like
hell
the organization? Yeah. So do you talk to Rosas at all? Like he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's not
Giants
I
went up there I went up there his rookie year, and because he was new, and they said, hey, we got this kid, we really like him. First I meet him, I'm like, damn, this dude looks like a tight end.
Yeah, dude's jacked. Huge.
6'4", 230, and then Zach Yossi, the snapper, 6'5", 250, and then Riley Dixon is 6'5", 220. I mean, when those dudes come out for pregame, they're bigger than like some tight ends and quarterbacks. They look like that's what everyone says to them when they come out. I mean, they're humongous dudes. And, I'm 6'2", like 200, which was big for a kicker, but these dudes – but he's good, man. He's got some the whole if he can fix that fall off thing that he does, and which he did a little bit last year. Last year, I'm not going to blame him after that Pro Bowl season he had. Yeah. Last year, there was a lot going on. Their operation was not wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Zach retired too, so.
What do you expect, just moving to the draft? Do you think they take offensive tackle, or do you think they go Simmons, or what do you think that they should do? I think you need to protect DJ, but it's hard to.
If Simmons is there, he'd be hard to pass on. I think you can find good linemen late. I know that's probably not been the case with the Giants, but Dave Dill was our starting left tackle in both Super Bowls, and he was like a 6th or 7th round pick or something like that.
Yeah.
Gettleman's good at finding linemen. I know some people would disagree with that. I would take Simmons if he's there. Okay. I just think he's too versatile, and
exactly.
In today's defense, to have a guy like him to cover a tight end, to cover a slot, I think you get a lot more bang for your buck, because linemen, as you know, just because they're great in college doesn't mean shit.
Well, Flowers, for instance, he likes Flowers. I'm not a big Flowers guy.
But here's the deal: he's done well for the Redskins. I never blame a kid for where they get drafted. That's not his fault.
Yeah,
that's the Giants' fault. Yeah, and Jerry Reese picked him way too high because he was 6'7", whatever he weighed, athletic. But he was never a tackle anyway. He was a guard.
Yeah,
which I think that's what he's playing now for the Redskins.
Well, he's with the Dolphins now. He's with the Dolphins now. So yeah.
So he just kind of ran into a shitty situation. Again, it's you'll never fulfill expectations. It's the guy we were talking about, the kicker, Aguayo. He was drafted way too high. Pressure. Eric Flowers was drafted top 10. I guarantee you, he never in his wildest dreams thought he was going to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, probably.
And then he gets to New York, and everybody focuses on the first pick of the draft, especially in New York. The media is all over you.
Yeah.
And, he's obviously found success somewhere as a guard. He just wasn't a tackle. And I don't ever point fingers at players, and it's not their fault where they get drafted. That's on the organization. And if you're going to draft a guy that high, you better develop him. And the Giants did a terrible job of it because he was not a tackle. They kept trying to stick a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I know a lot of Giants fans are like, they did not like Reese, and now a lot of them don't like DG. But I'm like, hey, with Giants fans, you can never. Giants fans, like you could say any scenario, and somebody's going to disagree with you because
so my whole career, I played on one team that didn't have a winning record. One team. So we were like 10-6 one year, missed the playoffs. You would have thought like we were 2-14. Like it's just nothing's ever good enough. And now they have been doing a whole lot of that in the last 5 years. They've been terrible.
Yeah.
But
when you go up to New York, do you ever have to buy a beer? Like
no.
When you go to the bar?
No.
I'd buy you a damn beer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to. Yeah, I love going back, but yeah, to your point, like I don't have to pay for anything. Those fans are so loyal. They love. It's just like the Yankees players that were on those teams. They don't. if you win in New York, there's no place in the world like it. And
That's awesome.
We did it twice, and those people love you for it. So I think they'll figure it out. Listen, they've got the quarterback. They've got the running back.
I mean, they led the league in rookie snaps last year.
Yeah, Evan Ingram, I'm so on. He's never healthy. I think he's a good player when he's healthy.
Oh, he's my
I
fantasy
think they can
league
get some
tight
picks
end.
out of him. Yeah.
He's my
I actually
fantasy
traded
league
him
tight
away.
end.
I traded him away to him last year.
Yeah.
Did
So,
you?
yeah.
So, again, he's kind of a tweener guy. I don't think you should ever – last year I saw him a bunch at the line blocking. I'm like, what are we doing? You just got to put players in the right places to succeed, and I think Joe Judge will do that because that's why New England was so good. They took players. They do what you do well, and you play that position.
I was going to ask you –
teams try to put guys in spots that they're not good at.
Yeah, I was going to ask you your opinion on Joe Judge, him being a special teams coordinator up to head coach, which I've heard that special team coordinators are they pretty much see the entire team, right? I mean,
but you have Harbaugh too, right?
Yeah.
Every morning, you could, the head coach is only in front of the team, the whole team. He's in front of the team once a day for like 30 minutes, sometimes less.
Right.
And then he's in front of the whole team, on Saturday night. And then after practices for the special teams coach is in front of the whole team, everybody except quarterbacks, every morning for an hour. And then every day after practice, post-practice meeting for 30 minutes. Wow. He is in front of the whole team because everybody plays special teams except quarterbacks. Now, Eli never played special teams, but like even sometimes the backup quarterback, he's the backup holder for field goals.
Yeah.
So sometimes he would have to be in there. That's why I'm saying special teams coaches like Dave Tobe in Kansas City, who does a great job. Obviously, Coach Quinn and Thomas McGahee, Harbaugh, you referenced. More special team, Joe Judge. Joe Judge has been in front of the whole football team. The only person that probably wasn't in his meeting was Tom Brady in New England.
Right.
And so that's what special teams coaches are. And so I think he'll bring kind of a, blue collar work ethic, and which is what New York needs because for whatever reason they just can't figure it out.
Yeah. Now we have a few more, and then we'll let you go. We know you're down there vacationing. So speaking of Brady, man, what do you think about the move? I never would have thought he would have left, which is I don't know. I just never seen it. So now he's in Tampa. What do you think?
He's like he's like when like your girlfriend breaks up with you and you go work out and you get like pecs and abs and stuff. That's what he's doing right now. He's flexing a little bit because he wants to show the world, not only New England, that he can do it without Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Having said that, he can still play. You give him Godwin and Evans and whoever their tight end is, the kid from
Howard.
And then here's the differentiator. I think Bruce Arians is a stud football coach, play caller.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they're there in the end. I mean, the defense is good. JPP's there. The Levante David. They got some studs on defense. I don't know, man. I mean, offensively, I think he'll do well. He's not what he used to be. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Yeah.
But because I loved watching people like Jameis Winston. I loved watching his games because he didn't give a shit. He throw all over the yard. I mean, the amount of
Speaking of
yards he
Jameis
had yesterday. I mean,
speaking of Jameis, would you take Jameis Winston or Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback?
Right now,
this is a debate.
No. There's a debate on that.
There's a debate between me and my buddies.
Not me.
So
no way.
We have another co-host. He wasn't able to make it today, but Brad and our buddy Joe.
He's taking Jameis over DJ.
He's a big Florida State fan. So
that's why
he loves Jameis.
You only have to say, that's it. That's the only loyalty now. If you could cut out, so they're both very. I shouldn't say similar because they step off the bus with 2 turnovers each.
Yeah, that's what we discussed. Who had less turnovers and whatever.
Before they even put their helmet on, they got 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
So Jameis slings it. I think if you can fix some of his, half of them. Like I think Bruce Arians said it. He goes, you fix half of those turnovers, and we would have won like 11 games or something. I don't know, something crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe the LASIK helps. Who knows?
I love how he plays. I love people that aren't cautious. Like, I don't know. It drives coaches crazy, but, you know, would you rather have let me position it this way. Would you rather have Jameis Winston or Derek Carr?
Ooh. Yeah, see, I would take Winston.
You don't want the 6 yards, 7 yards, the safe.
It's funny because I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, they're his brother.
I know the Carr family. I'm not hating on Derek.
I know. I'm saying like those two are like in a battle right now on Twitter about Jameis's new workout routine with his personal trainer. So you got to take a look after you hop off. Yeah.
You know, that's very unlike David too.
Yeah.
He's very anti-controversial, but he has been on TV. He's gonna hype up the ratings a little bit now.
Yeah.
Because I did see he had like 40,000 retweets on that thing. So
yeah,
good for him. I get his point. He's saying, you know, push yourself a little bit, but Jameis is Jameis. He's been a winner. He does turn the ball over some, but he did get LASIK. That might fix half of them.
Yeah.
Do you see what's a potential landing spot for him and Cam Newton? Neither one, both are chilling right now.
You know, I hate the Phillip Rivers to Indy.
Colts,
I hate that.
Yeah.
You're getting is he better than
Brissett?
Jacoby? I don't know. I mean, who you got one guy to throw to, T.Y. Hilton.
That's it.
Right? Ebron left. I don't even know who the other wideout is in Indy. Do you?
Moncrief?
Yeah.
I just think that Phillip Rivers had two of the best dudes in the league, those two, and the tight end, right, Henry?
Yeah.
And two big wideouts, and didn't really get it done. And what's he going to do throwing to T.Y. Hilton every game? So Jameis, I mean, let's just kind of go through the divisions. West, no.
Yeah, the Jags potentially. You see the Jags?
Jags might ride that Minshew train.
Maybe, yeah. Minshew mania.
They're gonna ride that. I think he's got a cap though.
Yeah, I think that's
a cap.
That's more of ticket sales. I think more of everybody likes
to watch. I love watching him play.
Yeah,
I just think he has a ceiling.
Yeah,
and I think he probably already hit it. I don't know that he's going to be a guy that's going to go. Here's the deal. You remember how good RG3 was and some of these other guys after their first year?
Yeah.
And then defensive coordinator said, "Oh, I know what you like to do." Mm-hmm. And then they got deleted from the NFL.
Now,
I think Gardner Minshew is going to get deleted.
Do you think that happens to Lamar Jackson? We've also had this debate.
No way.
No?
He's a different animal. No.
Think he's going to stay? Okay.
He's
nice.
He is RG3 was running around. Colin Kaepernick was running around. They were kind of running that zone read. But, man, there's athletically – I mean, you're talking about Michael Vick-ish with Lamar. Maybe even a little bit more wiggle. I don't know. He's never going to be a great passer. I don't care.
Right.
That's just not who he is.
Yeah.
But you can win with him.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that. I think the Ravens got in their own way last year in the playoff. They try to make them a threat. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, people get in tight situations. They start trying to reinvent how they got there. And with Lamar, just let him do what he does. But I think you can you can win with him. But there is a formula to beat him. I mean, we saw that.
Yeah, true.
But Derrick Henry, you know, I'm still trying to think of where does Winston. I don't know where he fits. Maybe that's why he's still sitting at home.
Yeah,
you know, maybe
I did hear some rumblings that he could go to the Saints as a backup. I don't know. I really don't.
That might be good for him.
Yeah.
Learn how Drew Brees plays a little bit.
I'm thinking after the draft.
Taysom Hill's the backup. So
there was some.
I'm thinking
rumblings.
After the draft, like once people move up, move back, do all that stuff, then he'll find a home. But right now, everybody's trying to move up for Tua or Herbert or Love. So
I'm a Tua hater. I'm a Tua hater.
Hey, we both are.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, he's not going to be good at all. Period.
No.
You can record this, tweet it. He's not going to. His parents are too involved.
Yep.
They can't come to practice anymore.
Yep.
Does he have an invisible girlfriend like Manti Te'o? Where's she at?
Could.
Maybe.
He's not going to be good.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's too brittle. He gets banged
That
up
game
super
doesn't
easy.
work. That one read slant throw in the NFL,
Yeah.
you got to play from right here and be able to throw on time and play. You can't do all this stuff. It just doesn't work.
I
Who
seen
won the Super Bowl? Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
He's not Mahomes. He's not a guy that can sit in the pocket. And you go down, it's the pocket passer still to this day. And you can call Mahomes what you want, but he's still a pocket passer.
Oh yeah.
The pocket passer wins.
Yeah,
every
I
year.
agree. I
Tom
seen
Brady, you go down the list.
I seen a story. I seen a story that wherever Tua gets drafted, his parents are moving to that city.
That's the problem.
And and they're also looking into his little brother who's at Alabama. Yeah. I don't know if they had help. You think they had help?
Listen, there's a bunch of handshakes going on in T-Town. But again, I think he's going to fall into one of those Tim Tebow, Danny Werfel, Doug Johnson, who keep going down our list that were great college quarterbacks.
Johnny Manziel.
Do shit in the NFL.
Yeah.
Listen, and I'll eat it if he does well. But I'm on record, a lot of records, because I've gotten all the hate mail and hate tweets.
Yeah.
That Tua is a backup at best.
We agree with
He's
you.
going to get drafted high, but he shouldn't.
Yeah, no, we completely agree. We are all on the same page here.
He was playing with the 3 first-rounders, essentially.
Yeah.
And that Joe Burrow, though, give me 10 of those. I'll take him.
Oh, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Man, he's a baller.
Do you think in Cincy he'll be fine, or like, what do you think?
I think
he's not going to build around him.
I don't know anything internally. I think he's going to power play and try to get out of that.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I
can see it.
People hate on Andy Dalton. He's been to the playoffs a lot more than a lot of guys.
There's talks about the Dolphins trading up to 1 somehow and getting them, and they've put a lot of pieces together, especially with the Pats no longer being the Pats with Tom Brady. I mean, they still have Belichick, so you can never count them out.
I think Miami loves all this tank for Tua talk because I know that's not their guy. I don't know that coach down there, but I'm sure he looks at Joe Burrow and says,
"Yeah,
this is a more athletic Tom Brady."
True.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know where Tua fits. Detroit, my God, you could imagine going to a worse place. I grew up a Lions fan too. Yeah.
Maybe that actually keep his parents out of Detroit. Who wants to live there? Honestly.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're
I guess
too
they moved to
involved.
Tuscaloosa. Yeah, exactly.
That's anything though. I have kids, so I see how much parents are involved.
Yeah.
Even college, a lot of the college football coaches I know, I won't say their names, in big time college programs right now. That's the number one problem. Parents.
Mm-hmm.
In college.
Yeah.
Like they come to practices. Parents come to college football practices.
That's ridiculous.
How do you tell them no after you? But you'd have to set a rule. Like I never saw a parent in practice when I was in college, ever.
Yeah.
Now they go to practices.
Wow.
But I have kids. I coach youth sports. Parents come to practice.
Yeah.
And clap when they do something good in practice.
That's crazy.
It's disgusting. Sorry.
That is crazy.
It's not cool. But, to his parents, why not just go back to Hawaii? A little bit nicer.
Yeah, paradise.
Than Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
And you can, cheer on Tua for 2 or 3 years, and then he'll be a backup.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was talk where it was – because I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, and there was talk that, the Dolphins are going to draft him. His parents are going to move to Miami. They're going to take his younger brother out of Alabama. He's going to transfer to Miami. And I'm just like, geez, like that's – why?
That was like a nepotism scholarship, though. I heard he wasn't that good.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he looks small, too.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know. He doesn't feel like he's the typical Alabama, like Trevor Lawrence. We could talk about that next year, but that dude's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is a stud.
He needs to cut his damn hair, though.
I agree. That is the only thing that is – I'm like, dude, come on. The sunshine thing is played out. Just cut it.
Yeah.
It's played out.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, cool, man. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah, man.
I got one final question for you. Aesthetically, which Super Bowl ring is your favorite? Like looking at it, do you have one that's
great question?
The first one.
The first one?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, that one has, wild card, 18, being an 18-0 team. plus it's your first one.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Awesome,
The second
man. Well,
one was cool too, but
yeah,
nothing